Week 13 in the NFL here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with returning guest Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, who's given us some great analysis all year long and won over a lot of converts in the short time he's been doing previews with us. Joe, thanks for being back with us.
Peter, thank you very much.
All right, you took a tough game this week, Arizona at the Jets. Before we look at that game, tell us a little bit about OffshoreInsiders.com.
Offshore Insiders is where our handicappers, several of them, can actually trace our roots well before the internet. I'm the CEO, and I go back to the 976 score phone days of Dial Sports. And then after that, after college, when I graduated from college, I moved to Atlanta, worked for the free score phones. We were known as Sportsline at the time. Then we ran into some copyright issues. A popular website actually, did copyright the Sportsline, so we wound up calling ourselves the Free Scoreboard or something like that. But bettors will know me as JD of the ACC, the Amazing Cadillac Club. Did that 900 number since the since the mid-1980s. Pretty darn successful. This thing called the Internet came along. I was general manager of the first national toll-free score phone, et cetera, et cetera. And then once the Internet made score phones useless, I went completely on my own at OffshoreInsiders.com. But I've been doing this full-time literally for a quarter century, going all the way back to the score phone days.
Unbelievable. Seen it all, done it all, survived it all. OC, Original Kappa, Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Great to have you as a guest. All right, Arizona at the Jets. Now, this line opened at 3, and it's now Jets minus 4.5, and using like a sort of square syllogism, you can see why. The Jets, pounded the Rams on the road 2 weeks ago. Then the Rams went into Arizona and pounded Arizona last week. So based on that, of course, you would think, yeah, the Jets are the obvious side here. I guess, it's just the Jets giving more than a field goal against any NFL team. That just makes me very nervous. And, Ryan Lindley is a quarterback for Arizona. He did have 4 interceptions last week, but you have to figure he might improve a little bit in this one. And he did look good at times last week. So I'm thinking maybe Arizona plus 4.5 is a play.
No, and it's, hey, first of all, I love that word syllogism,
yes.
One of my favorite words from my college days, and appropriately enough, because this game kind of reminds me of my college days at frat parties. I got to choose between, 2 ugly girls at the end of the night, but in this case, it's definitely the Jets. Arizona was a team that got off to that phenomenal start this year. They played above their heads, but they regressed to their means. The Jets have been a box of chocolate teams, or I'm going to use that term again, predictably unpredictable. Of their wins this year, 3 of them were by double digits. I've got the exact statistics, but they have, I believe it is 3 wins by double digits this year, and 5 of their losses were by double digits. Well, my point is they are a total Jekyll and Hyde team. They can look terrible one week and spectacular the next week, while Arizona, after they got off to that bad start, it's all going downhill. They now have yet another injury on their offensive line after they lost Levi Brown. They're now minus their 2 best offensive linemen. Their team captain Senline is now out. As you know, Kevin Cobb was a decent quarterback. He's hurt. They're now down to like their 12th stringer. In fact, Arizona contacted me about being the quarterback this week. Also, it's important to note that teams coming off of losses of 28 points or more are 10-3-1 against the spread this year. That applies to the Jets. And the Jets, as I've said, they've been that complete Jekyll and Hyde team. The fact that they were annihilated their last game and now they have a chance to come back with a big victory, that would describe the type of year that they've had. Actually, the last 2 years, they've been exactly like that. So I look for the Jets to bounce back. Also, another one of my golden rules is rest benefits teams that need it the most. The Jets have a couple extra days rest. They played on Thanksgiving. They need to make those adjustments. If they were playing well, we would say that having the extended time off hurts. But they're playing poorly. They're coming off a terrible loss. But not only the Jets have been bouncing back from bad losses the last 2 years, but all teams in the NFL that were annihilated their previous game, as I said, 10-3-1. And that one game that was a push was actually a late line move. So most people are 11-3 betting on teams coming off of 28 points or more losses, and that would benefit the Jets. But basically, Arizona, they've been playing terrible, but they're legitimately terrible.
Yeah.
Todd Heap also got hurt. The Jets, they're bad, but they just keep, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, will play well. And this is a perfect spot for them to bounce back.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but Mark Sanchez is so bad. I mean, Joe, did you see you remember the play where Mark Sanchez ran into his own offensive lineman's ass and fumbled the ball? The guy returned it for a touchdown?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's true. Now, he is going against Arizona, as I said. You can't really make an argument for either quarterback But Sanchez, he has had some bounce back games. Again, look at the last 2 years. Sanchez is kind of like what Rex Grossman was when Chicago went to the Super Bowl. He had some spectacular games. He had some terrible games. Now, in the case of Sanchez, admittedly, he needs to have more good games, but Sanchez has done that. That's the reason he's been able to keep his job. He has been bouncing back with some pretty good games. No, Mark Sanchez, I would not want him as my quarterback, but he is the better quarterback in this game.
All right, well, Joe Duffy, your opinion has certainly earned my respect over these few short weeks we've been doing videos with you, so I guess my lean would have to be Jets minus 4.5 here, although I got to admit, giving another team 4.5 points and taking Mark Sanchez as your quarterback would make me very, very nervous, but I guess that's my lean. Thanks so much, Joe Duffy from offshoreinsiders.com.